Vanakkam. This is RJ Vinod from 94.3 Radio 1 Chennai. And today, in this hour of 100 hours, 100 stars, we have a strong woman, a wonderful human, and Lieutenant Governor of Pondicherry, Madam Kiran Bedi with us. Madam Vanakkam, Namaste.
Namaste.
Yes. How are you finding this lockdown and how do you stay positive and productive in these days, ma'am?
Well, having been a police officer for so many years, law enforcement comes very easy to me. It comes very easy to me because lockdown is all about grassroots road enforcement. So it for me to see this put this place and be a part of that thinking was very easy. That's the advantage of having been a police officer in such a situation, because I've dealt with earlier many curfew situations, and there were most of them curfew in communal rights times, law and order times in Delhi. So I've done these lockdowns earlier, but during communal rights in Delhi. In Delhi, we used to those days. So therefore, I'm not stranger to this. But however, this kind of lockdown, there is a partial lock, but then also we used to have curfew times where you used to get, say 2 hours given to you to go and pick up your groceries, etc. But this is a lockdown of unimaginable dimensions and for absolutely unimaginable reasons
Yes.
and uncontrollable reasons. So the only way you could control this is through a lockdown, where people have to stay indoors to keep themselves safe and also keep others safe. So I
Yes.
think it's an unimaginable new learning for me, though my past learning was a big help.
All right. Madam, as you said, lockdown in this scale is something we have never faced before. As an ex-police officer, can you please shed lights on the role of police in this?
In this lockdown, it calls for maximum cooperation between the police and the people, and also the will of the government, the elected government. When all the three are in one wavelength, it works.
Okay.
But if any one of the three is weak, it fails. So lockdowns have succeeded so far because all the three have been on one wavelength. People have cooperated, they've understood it's for their good, even though it's at a huge economic loss, but it's for their life. So it's not life, at the moment it's life, not livelihood.
Yes.
It's life to get your livelihood back, right? So I think all the three have been in alignment, and therefore so far it's succeeded. So far it's being said that the lockdown has helped us flatten the curve to an extent.
All right. Ma'am, how can we as the public and you as the government help people who are daily wages or migrants stranded in other states, ma'am?
Today, as came to you for your interview, I think they're trying. First of all, wherever the migrant laborers are, they need to be fully looked after as very important mass of humanity. And we in Pondicherry, I can say we are looking after them very well, taking care of their stay, food, healthcare, finance, etc. Meeting their basic needs. But the numbers are very, very large in other states, very, very large. And now they had to be looked after. Those were the messages. You have to look after their food, their shelter, their essential needs. But now I see the latest is that now the states are trying to take them back. So certain states, which is I think a step towards. They will have to do it with certain precautions.
Okay. And now coming to your territory, especially since it is known for its tourist reflex, how is Pondicherry coping with isolation, ma'am?
Well, so far it's managed, it's coped. Our rural area is now already functioning. In fact, our rural area is functioning. Our farmers are already harvesting. Our women have gone to work in Manrega schemes. Our women are marketing vegetables. So there is a partial opening up through the rural community, which is quite substantial, which is a good sign. And the women have taken to masking and sanitation, and they are accepting it. They're working with now as an accepted norm of work functioning. So we see rural normalcy coming. while urban normalcy should be coming with more shops opening from tomorrow, with
Okay.
33% of the people to be in the shops, barring liquor and barring non-essential and barring malls. They have not been allowed to open yet.
Okay. And unfortunately, in recent days, we are seeing some attack incidents on doctors. So, ma'am, please give a word of advice to the public and media with respect to respecting those superheroes in medical industry.
They are our warriors in white coats. You see, we've always adulated the men in khaki or the olive green. Today, they are fighting for humanity. Each one of them is a diamond, and we need to. They are gods in white clothes. We must take full respect and we must honor them and give them full respect and bless them because they're working selflessly right now. They're working, putting their lives at stake, exactly the way olive green did, just as the khaki does. Today, it's been the white coat.
All right, ma'am. Now we are turning to the lighter side of this session, ma'am. I've read some facts about you in internet, but I really don't know whether it is true or not. So you please clarify it. I will tell a fact which I read about you. You tell whether it is true or false, ma'am. May I start, ma'am?
What is that?
Madam Kiran Bedi's favorite sport is tennis. True or false?
100% true. I'm a product of tennis.
Can
I
you
am
please?
won the Asian tennis title. So you're so old, outdated generation that you only
Not
can give
really. And
inspiration.
also, not really. And also, the reason behind your haircut is also tennis. I read about it. Whether it is true or false, ma'am.
It's true because I didn't want anything to come in the way.
Okay. Can you please share one unforgettable moment in the tennis court?
I've cried and laughed on the tennis court, cried when I lost, laughed and jeered and danced, and a lot of friends on the tennis court. So every day was either it was joy winning matches and bringing trophies for my parents. So my life on the tennis court's been full of joy and hard work. Every day I enjoyed it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been there.
Okay. Ma'am, next thing is Madam Kiran Bedi's favorite food is aloo paratha. Is that true or false, ma'am?
It's false. My no favorite is up any paratha.
What paratha, ma'am? Sorry.
My food, and this is false.
Okay.
My
Favorite
taste
food,
is
ma'am?
not aloo paratha.
Okay. What is your favorite food, ma'am?
Simple food when I'm hungry.
Whatever you get it. All right.
It's simple
And
food.
okay. Madam Kiran Bedi's favorite vacation spot is Goa. True or false, ma'am?
Oh, false. My
Oh,
favorite spot is Pondicherry.
all right. It's mini Goa, as we say.
That is when I was working in Goa.
But you like Pondicherry as a tourist spot, as a vacation spot, ma'am?
Pondicherry has gone to one of the finest tourist spots. It's
Okay.
I've yet to see more. After this, I hope to see more. But I've seen more of drains and canals here, irrigation canals or desilting lakes. But it's very beautiful. It's a very God gifted place.
Which place in Pondicherry you love to spend time, ma'am?
The beach itself.
Okay.
I used to walk the beach every day before the virus hit us.
Okay. Okay. And Madam Kiran Bedi loves to sing. She is a good singer. True or false, ma'am?
I love to sing, but I'm not a good singer.
Ma'am, and today we would like to hear few motivational lines from you, ma'am. Can you sing one or two lines for our radio and Fever FM Radio National listeners?
I sing along with others. You sing, I sing with you. I
Ma'am,
sing with others because my voice can be drowned in that singing.
you told that you are a singer.
No, I'm
Okay.
not a singer. I said I'm a singer when I can accompany somebody else in singing. Then I can be. So you sing, I'll sing with you. You will not be able to recognize my voice.
Ma'am, I feel one emotion right now. Why this Kolaveri is the emotion right now running in my mind, ma'am?
I've heard that, but I don't know the singing. I don't know that song.
Okay, ma'am. Who is your favorite singer, ma'am?
Or anything which is melodious, whether it's English or whether it's Western or it's. I love melodious. I love soft and I sang which is melodious and which is soft, and all any music, but all of them are they're all on my iPad.
All right. Madam, have you started watching any new television series or web series or started any new hobby in this lockdown?
I'm busier during this time than ever before.
Okay.
Earlier, I could find some time to visit a documentary on the Netflix on Sundays. I'm not even getting that time at the moment.
What
So
is your
if I
favorite series?
forget about watching a serial on television. I'm just catching up with the news on television these days.
Okay. So you watch Netflix, right?
Sorry?
So you watch Netflix.
I watch Netflix. I've
Okay,
visited, seen all the documentaries on Netflix. I
okay,
love historical documentaries. And I've watched all the legends.
okay, okay. So which is the last movie you watched in theaters, man?
None, I don't recall.
You don't remember at all. Okay, which is the last documentary you watched in Netflix?
Oh, I watched Bill Gates,
Oh, okay, okay,
The Brain. I watched him, The Brain. I
okay.
loved. I watched all the Netflix documentaries. Latest is the Bill Gates.
All right, man.
I watched Confucius. I watched Nietzsche. I watched Buddha. All those Netflix films which are on the thing. I've watched the documentaries. They're very nice BBC documentaries.
All right. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. And the major motto of this 100 Hours, 100 Stars campaign is to raise fund to our PM CARES Relief Fund. So please share your points about PM CARES Relief Fund, ma'am.
Give it all that you can. Give it whatever you can. Give and donate to PM Cares whatever you can until it hurts a little. Give it.
All right.
I've given my own 1/3 of the salary to the PM Care.
Okay.
So whatever we can, we must give.
And one final message to the listeners, to the viewers of Hindustan Times, Fever FM, Radio 1, Radio Nasha, and the citizen of India.
Well, it's time to relook at the way we've lived our lives till now. Now, past is history. You only have the new present. We don't know the future. So the present has to be readdressed. Relook at the way you were working. Relook at the way you were living. Relook at the way you were spending your time, spending your money. So it's a whole, it's an opportunity to readdress your needs, your habits, your associations, your concerns, your anxieties and your worries. And the one message is, everything is impermanent. You do not know tomorrow. You only know what is today before you. So get ready for the impermanence. Get ready for the impermanence. There's no point in being greedy. Just remain in your need, not in greed.
Okay.
And live your life in deed.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us in this 100 Hours, 100 Stars campaign. We, Hindustan Times and Radio 1, are really honored to have you as a speaker. Thank you. Nandri, Vanakkam, Namaste, ma'am.
Thank you.
जब सारी दुनिया कर रही थी बकवास, तब फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज की शुरुआत करते हुए रेडियो पर जॉन इब्राहिम, गौतम गंभीर और वरुण धवन ने मिलकर ये कहा,
हाय मैं हूँ गौतम गंभीर।
हाय मैं हूँ वरुण धवन।
हाय मैं हूँ जॉन इब्राहिम।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ मैं कहता हूँ बकवास बंद,
बदलाव शुरू।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज का सबसे पहला इनिशिएटिव था नो MC, नो BC।
मैं जॉन इब्राहिम कहता हूँ,
मैं वरुण धवन भी ये वादा करता हूँ,
हम अपनी शहर की औरतों को जुबान से इज्जत देंगे,
यानी नो MC, नो BC।
उसके बाद मिशन तेजाब में कई एसिड अटैक विक्टिम्स की जिंदगी का रुख बदल दिया।
हाय मैं हूँ आमिर खान और फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज एसिड अटैक विक्टिम्स को एक नई जिंदगी दे रहा है। मैं इसका स्वागत करता हूँ।
मिशन जुर्रत में देश के सारे पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट्स को एक साथ मिलकर कहा,
नमस्कार, मैं अमिताभ बच्चन बोल रहा हूँ। दिल्ली, बेंगलोर, कोलकाता और मुंबई पुलिस को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं मैं देना चाह रहा हूँ। आप फीवर 104 FM मिशन जुर्रत का हिस्सा बने हैं। ये बदलाव की बहुत बड़ी शुरुआत है और मेरी शुभकामनाएं आपके साथ।
जब कश्मीर में फ्लड्स आए, लाखों की तादाद में खाने पीने की सामग्री कश्मीर भिजवाई। हमारी इस कोशिश के लिए मिशन कश्मीर ने जीता गोवा फेस्ट में प्रेस्टिजियस एबी अवार्ड।
मैं और आप मिलकर फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज का अगला प्रोजेक्ट शुरू करते हैं, ब्लड बैंक 104। ब्लड बैंक 104 फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ मैं जॉन इब्राहिम ये वादा करता हूँ कि इस शहर में जब भी होगी खून की दरकार, तैयार रहेगा फीवर 104।
और फिर ट्रैफिक जैम की वजह से नहीं जाए कोई जान, उसके लिए हमने शुरू की अपनी मुहिम एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट।
हाय, मैं हूँ जॉन इब्राहिम।
हाय, मैं हूँ गौतम गंभीर।
हाय, मैं वरुण धवन बोल रहा हूँ।
हाय, मैं हूँ आलिया भट्ट।
जब भी एम्बुलेंस का सायरन सुनाई दे तो हो जाए लेफ्ट, क्योंकि एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट।
अब बकवास बंद, बदलाव शुरू।
एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट के साथ साथ फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने जिम्मा लिया ऑर्गन ट्रांसप्लांट का और बनाया ग्रीन कॉरिडोर, जिसमें एयरपोर्ट से हॉस्पिटल का सफर जो घंटों का था उसे मिनटों का बना दिया। एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट का डंका सिर्फ हिंदुस्तान में नहीं बल्कि न्यूयॉर्क तक बजा। रेडियो के ऑस्कर कहे जाने वाले न्यूयॉर्क फेस्टिवल ने एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट इनिशिएटिव को 2 बार NYF अवार्ड से नवाजा। और फिर कैंसर सर्वाइवर्स की जिंदगी में बदलाव लाने के लिए फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ जुड़े युवराज सिंह।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ कैंसर सर्वाइवर की जिंदगी के बदलाव के लिए मैं युवराज सिंह तैयार हूँ। क्या आप तैयार हैं?
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने वोटिंग परसेंटेज में किया बदलाव अपनी मुहिम ईच वन खींच वन के साथ।
नमस्कार, मैं हूँ फीवर आरजे अमिताभ बच्चन। चुनाव का माहौल बना हुआ है और मैं तो कहूँगा कि ईच वन खींच वन। जब मैं भी वोटिंग करने जाऊंगा तो किसी को साथ खींच कर लेकर जाऊंगा।
इंडियन आर्मी के साथ मिलकर फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने एक ऐसा जश्न मनाया जिसका शोर बॉर्डर पार पहुंचा।
मैं गौतम गंभीर।
मैं हूँ कर्नल VN थापर, कैप्टन विजयन थापर का फादर।
मैं हूँ मेजर गौरव आर्या।
फीवर FM के साथ मिलकर कहता हूँ,
इस कारगिल विजय दिवस मिलकर ऐसा जश्न मनाएंगे
कि शोर
बॉर्डर पार पहुंचे। जय हिंद।
जय हिंद।
जय हिंद। जय हिंद।
7 दिसंबर इंडियन आर्म्ड फोर्स फ्लैग डे पर फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ पूरे हिंदुस्तान ने मिलकर दिखाया अपना देश प्रेम।
मैं सिर्फ यही रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा सारे अपने फैंस और लिसनर्स से, आप फेसबुक हो चाहे इंस्टाग्राम हो चाहे इवन ट्विटर हो, अगर आप अपना फ्रेम चेंज कर सकते हैं 7 दिसंबर को तो कहीं ना कहीं आप वो रिस्पेक्ट दे रहे हैं आर्म फोर्सेस को।
दिल्ली की बिगड़ती हवा और पोल्यूशन से एनवायरनमेंट को बचाने के लिए फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज लेकर आया प्रोजेक्ट ग्रीन हार्ट्स, जहां हमने दिल्ली NCR में लगाए 1 लाख से भी ज्यादा पेड़।
आप पहले 1 या 2 पेड़ों से शुरुआत करो और कोशिश करो कि उन पेड़ों को अपने बच्चों की तरह बड़ा करो।
पुलवामा अटैक इस मुश्किल की घड़ी में पूरे देश को शहीदों के परिवार से जोड़ रही थी एक वेबसाइट, भारत के वीर। तो फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ मिलकर सुपरस्टार अक्षय कुमार ने फीवर 104 FM पर DG CRPF से कहा,
हेलो डी साहब, शरद।
हाँ, नमस्कार।
नमस्कार। अक्षय भाई मेरे साथ दूसरी लाइन पे।
नमस्ते जी। मेरे लायक कोई भी सेवा हो, मैं बोला पूरा देश आपके साथ है इस वक्त। अभी आई हैव जस्ट सेंट 5 करोड़ रुपीस टू भारत के वीर फ्रॉम माय साइड।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने शुरू की मुहिम #सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक से ब्रेकअप।
मैं तो सभी दुकानदारों से आग्रह करूंगा, आप अपने दुकान पर हमेशा बोर्ड लगाते हैं, एक बोर्ड ये भी लगा दीजिए, कृपा करके हमसे प्लास्टिक की थैली की अपेक्षा न करें।
और फिर पहली बार देश के किसी मीडिया हाउस की पीठ थपथपाने के लिए देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने फीवर 104 FM के लिए ट्वीट किया। फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के पिछले 5 सालों की ये तो बस एक छोटी सी झलक थी, लेकिन फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज की टीम जॉन इब्राहिम के साथ कहती है, ये बस शुरुआत है, बदलाव अब भी बाकी है।
Okay, guys, welcome to 100 Hours, 100 Stars. Over the next few days, over 100 hours, we're going to make you meet 100 superstars from various facets of life. And the idea is to get you to donate to the PM Cares Fund, the Prime Minister Cares Fund. On this video, you'll see a QR code as well as a link. All you have to do is scan the QR code, click on the link or click on the link and feed in your details, your payment details, how much you want to donate, and then hit proceed to contribute. And this will go out to our COVID-19 warriors, our medical practitioners who are fighting so hard in this battle against the coronavirus. one of my eternal favorites, Parthiv Patel, is my guest right now. Parthiv, wonderful to talk to you. Big fan of yours.
Thank you. Pleasure. Good to be here.
I'm going to start off with your captaincy. Everybody just makes such a big deal about how you're such a fine wicketkeeper batsman. And, if you hadn't played in the Dhoni era, you would have clocked 100 matches and this and that. And just like you, I have another very dear friend called Amol Muzumdar. And Amol says, man, I've reached a point when I just need people to stop asking you that question, saying that if I wasn't in the Sachin era, would I have played 100 tests? So I'd like to focus on the fact that you really are a leader of men, because under your stewardship, a team like Gujarat, I mean, this is really the stuff that, you're hearing of in Lagan and Chak De, movies. You marshal these troops of boys to actually go on and win 3 prominent titles, and one of them is the Ranji. So let's start at the absolute beginning, how you managed to do that, and your skills as a captain.
See, first of all, I don't see myself as unlucky to be playing in Dhoni's era, because I played before him, and I've had the opportunity to perform before him, and then he came in because I did not have a couple of good series and I got dropped. So I know people can say just to gain sympathies that I was born in wrong era, but I don't believe that. I think whatever Dhoni has achieved, he has make sure that whatever opportunities he's got, and he's achieved something very, very special for country. So I don't feel unlucky at all. And now let's get back to a Gujarat thing. Yes, we won Ranji Trophy in 2016-17, but that wasn't. That is not the year where we started preparing. We started preparing 4 or 5 years back. It wasn't just a 1-year plan. We had to drop a lot of players. We had to drop a lot of senior players who were not ambitious enough to win trophy. I wanted as a captain, I wanted players or young guys who are more ambitious, who wanted to go on to play for India and not to just play for Gujarat and play another game. And we had a bunch of very, very good young players who had done really well in junior cricket, whether it's Akshay Patel, you name Priyank Panchal is a big name now, who's played for India. Jasprit Bumrah obviously has gone on to become number 1. There are a lot of players who are hungry to go on to play for India and to make sure that Gujarat wins Ranji Trophy. So in 2011-12, I spoke to selectors, I spoke to GCA guys that we'll stick to these guys. We'll take the insecurity out of their mind. We'll stick to these guys for 4 or 5 years. We have to accept right now that we are not good enough side to win Ranji Trophy, but we have talent. We have to make sure that these guys are given enough time, that insecurity should thrown out of their mind, so that they can express themselves the way they have been doing in junior cricket. Because we were winning in junior cricket, we were winning national titles in junior cricket, but it was not transferring into Ranji Trophy. So that was a big role which I probably decided to do it. And now everyone was established in 2016-17. All of them had played about 30-40 games. So before the season started, the main thought was we are not going to prepare for 8 games. We are going to prepare for 11 games. We are not going to just prepare for 8 league phase. We are going to prepare for semi-final, final, and Irani Trophy. That means we want to win this Ranji Trophy. And I personally felt that that shift of mindset made a huge difference. Obviously, quality was there, but the shift of mindset played a huge role in our success to win Ranji Trophy.
Lovely. Now, with over 300 dismissals in Ranji behind the stumps, a career tally which is over 450 dismissals. I know in the beginning, when you started off your career, people said, he bats better than he keeps. Over the sands of time, you've obviously worked on your keeping a lot. So let's say your average drills, what were they like? Did you spend like a half the day batting, half the day wicket keeping, a bit of both? Just take us into that aspect.
You're exactly right. So what I decided was, once I was dropped from the Indian side, I had to, rethink my strategy of practicing. I used to do wicket keeping and batting both in one practice session, and one was training. But I decided to give a full day to cricket. So I would start training in the morning, say around 7:30 to 8:30 or 9. I would just do my physical training, take a break for 1 hour, and I would just bat for a couple of hours from 10 to 12 or 12:30. It was just a batting session. Come back home, rest for say 1 hour, 2 hours, go back to the ground again by 3:30, and do my wicket keeping drills. So both sessions were separate sessions, skill wise, so that I can focus equally onto it. So people say that you're someone's either a wicketkeeper batsman or someone's either a batsman wicketkeeper. But when I had decided to think in a way that when I'm wicket keeping for the team, I am a pure wicket keeper. And when I'm going to bat, I'm a pure batsman. I don't have to contribute only as a wicket keeper batsman. So for that, I had to give away equal importance to both in my practice session.
So, who would be keepers that you kind of grew up to? I mean, if you ask me, there's the Gilchrists of the world, and when I was a little child, I'm obviously elder than you. It was Dujon. There's so many wicket keepers are always interesting characters. Right from the time immemorial, from Alan Knott to even the recent wicket keepers. Yeah, Farooq Engineer. So, your childhood idol as a wicketkeeper batsman, who would it be?
Obviously, see, I grew up watching Ian Healy, Adam Gilchrist, and when you talk about Indian wicketkeepers, Kiran Sir and Nayan Mongia, everyone used to, in our generation, everyone used to, try and do the copy of Nayan Mongia's wicketkeeping stance. It was only he could do it, not anyone else could do it. So, I grew up watching all this sport. Kiran More has played a big role in my career as a wicketkeeper. As a 13-year-old, I went to his academy, worked with him on my wicketkeeping basics. So, he is basically my go-to man every time I feel that, if something's going wrong or what am I doing right or wrong. If at all, if any domestic game is live, I call him up a night before and say, if you have time, just have a look and see. So we reviewed. So Kiran More has been my go-to man throughout my career. But yeah, I've always wanted to idolize Adam Gilchrist. Left-handed batsman, opening, attacking, everything that suits into my thinking of cricket. So I always admired and trying to portray myself as Adam Gilchrist.
So, have you had some good fun moments with Gilly off the field? Chatting up and catching up, because wicket keepers have so much to discuss. Yeah, have
Absolutely,
you managed to do that with Gilly?
Yeah, a lot of times. I remember in 2003 World Cup where we were playing at Centurion. I know we got only 120 and Australia won it by 8 wickets or something. In the morning, I went and told John Wright that I want to have a chat with Adam Gilchrist. So he took me to Gilchrist, and just before the game he said he wants to have a chat. So I said fine, and the match finished. We were hammered very badly, so I didn't have that guts of going to the dressing room of Australia. But Adam Gilchrist knew that we had a chat, that he wants to have a chat about wicket keeping with me. So he came by himself to our dressing room and had a good chat about wicket keeping and stuff. And I was surprised that he asked me about how do you keep wickets on Indian dust ball wickets and stuff. So that was very big of him. Always he's been always very humble. Now that played IPL against him a lot of times, so we've had a lot of chats with him.
Yeah, and also the thing about left-handed batsmen is that traditionally they are known for their silken cover drives and a lot more artistry. Whether you look at the Gowers and the Borders of the past, or more recent left-handers who are more effective. But you've always been very good with short pitch bowling. The way you handle the short pitch stuff. And is it because you've practiced more of that in the nets, at bowling machines throw that at you, or is there some other reason how you managed to be so attacking with short balls? Yeah.
See, it has a lot to do with how I've grew up. We've grown up on our wickets, on a batting wicket. So back in, let's say, 95, 96, when I started playing cricket with cricket ball, there weren't many tough wickets in Ahmedabad. Now the facilities are completely different, but we used to play on batting wicket. So ball would always bounce more than the tough wicket. So you always have to be on back foot, because you can't just plant your front foot and play, because it would go on a slightly higher side. And especially with my height, I can go back and play square cut or pull. So I think basically it's just that, because we were playing so much on matting wicket and the synthetic ball also. Our schools didn't have that money to give away those leather balls there every day. So we used to get those synthetic balls because they would last long. So it would bounce more also, and then comes with a slightly faster pace than the usual leather ball. So because of that, I could play short ball really well.
And whenever I've met Kiran Bhai, I've interviewed him, Kiran More, I always ask him about the Javed Miandad incident. And the Steve Waugh incident, you have gone down in folklore because everybody talks about it. How he says that when he started playing, you were in your nappies and things like that. Did you get an opportunity ever to apologize to him?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. But there was another incident which, as you said, wicketkeepers are a little naughty, and they have that other side of them. So I never got chance of meeting him after that test match. But I bumped into Austin Waugh, his son.
His son, yeah.
When India was playing fourth test match in Australia when we won the series this time around. So I went up to him. He was carrying drinks for Australian team. So I went up to him, walked down, and said, "Please pass my regards to your dad." And I told him, "You were in your nappies when I made my test debut." His words are back at him.
Yeah, and the thing with Aussies is, I mean, the little bit that I know as a journalist, having met Binga and Gilly and Maddie Hayden, is that they're off the pitch, they're totally different human beings, or especially when you're on the same team as them. So I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Eventually, when you meet Mr. Waugh, I'm sure it'll just, he'll just laugh about it.
I'm sure. I'm definitely. And then you rightly said about Australians. I've played with Matthew Hayden at CSK for 3 years. He's such a nice human being when he's in the same side. Even after the IPL finished, I went to Australia with an emerging side where he called me home, prepared a chicken biryani and dal for me and stuff. And same with Binga. Binga's been commentating with Binga. They're probably the nicest person off the field.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Matty Hayden invited you for a meal because he almost threatened to beat you up once.
Yeah, he did. He did. That was in Brisbane, but yeah, but we became good friends after that. We played a lot of cricket together at CSK. We've enjoyed each other's company. Opening batting was fun with him, and we've had good times off the field also. So we kind of patched up after that Brisbane incident.
No, everybody knows what happened with you and Steve Waugh. But what did you say to Matty Hayden that he got so upset?
I was carrying drinks. It was in Brisbane where Irfan got him out. He had already scored 100, and it was a crucial stage where Irfan got him out. And while I was passing by him, I just did just a normal thing, and he got so pissed off. And Brisbane's dressing room is like a tunnel where he was standing like this spit. It's like, if you do this ever again, I'm gonna punch you on your face. I said, sorry, I didn't. I just turned around and went off. And he has apologized for it. I've reminded him when I went for a dinner at his house, and I told him that this is what had happened. So he gave me his book, and on the book he says that sorry for that incident.
Another mutual friend of ours, Gaurav Kapoor. In fact, I was with him on a call earlier today, just chatting with him. He told me you were born during a curfew in Ahmedabad. He said, please ask Parthiv about that because he was born during a curfew. I said, that is news to me. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So, I was born in 85 and there were riots here in Ahmedabad. When my mom had labor pain, it was curfew in Ahmedabad, and I used to live in the walled city, that old city. So there was curfew. So my mom, when she had pain, she was taken to the hospital in a police van. And when I was born, I came back home in a police van also. And there's another interesting thing. I have a connection with curfew as well. In 2002 riots, when we were still living in that old city area where I was called for the first tour of England, I went to airport in a police van because it was curfew in the old city area.
Wow. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And legend has it that the way you played the Pakistanis is very, very admirable, because these guys were at the peak of their career, and here was young Parthiv facing the furious pace attack was that
Yeah.
Shoaib, Kamran behind the stumps. Who else was there? Was that Sami? Was Sami there?
Mohammad Sami,
Sami,
Mohammad
yeah.
Sami, Omar Gul, yeah. It was probably the most memorable tour of my life. I mean, obviously winning in Pakistan for the first time was absolute. Just to be part of that setup was an absolute honor for me. And the way I contributed in that test match where I was asked to open for the first time, and I remember Sehwag doesn't take strike ever, and every time he takes strike, he gets out on a first ball.
First ball.
So yeah, so everyone knew that I'm a makeshift opener. So I was sitting next to Sehwag in the dressing room, and he was like, "Aaj main strike le leta hu." So I told him, "No, your wicket is more valuable than mine. I'll score 30, 40. You've scored already 300. You're in a good touch. It doesn't matter. I'll just go out there and take strike." He said, "नहीं नहीं, तू इतना कर रहा है टीम के लिए, तो I'll take a strike." He did take a strike, and guess what? He got out on first ball. For that moment, I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh, Sehwag in great form, got a triple, and now onus is on me to play." And luckily, I stuck it out, got my career best up, and 69 in that inning, where Shoaib Akhtar was bowling really, really quick. I've never seen someone bowl so fast, and I've never seen a wicketkeeper standing that far ever in my life.
There have been some other memorable moments, like saving a test match. Was in England, and then
First test match.
yeah, and then notable moments in West Indies when you toured in West Indies. Was it Port of Spain? So just talk about those two memories, England in particular. Yeah.
England is obviously debut test match where we needed to bat out a session, I think about 30-35 overs, and first inning I got 0, and in fact I don't think nobody expected me to bat out those 90 balls. I did that. When you're playing for India for the first time, it's like an honor. It's like something your dream has come true kind of a stage. And I remember Saurav Ganguly getting bowled on 99, and it was tea time, and he was just while passing in between, he just said, just hang in there. And I played those 89 balls with Ajit. I had a little partnership with Ajit Agarkar, with Harbhajan Singh and Zahir Khan. So that moment I would not forget. Obviously, debut test match you'd never forget, and the kind of ovation I got, and the kind of recognition I got from that test match. Everyone still talks about it. So that's very memorable. And obviously, I got my first compliment from Sachin after that inning. So a lot of us started playing cricket in our generation because of Sachin Tendulkar. So when he came up to me and said, "You showed tremendous temperament," the way he said it, it still rings in my ear. So that's been very, very memorable. Port of Spain, yes, I got a 50 in West Indies in that one-day series. Got a couple of 50s. I was opening. I was batting well for Kochi in IPL. Got rewarded to play for India, where Dhoni took rest. And so I mean, those were the moments where I cannot forget in my life.
And I get the feeling you enjoyed playing for the Mumbai Indians a lot. You're with the Royal Challengers Bangalore currently. Your IPL tenure, just a little bit about that, please.
I mean the most.
And you captained Kochi, didn't you? Did you captain?
Yeah, I did for one game. Yeah, one game I did. Till probably last year, before I was the most traveled IPL player to all sort of teams. I've covered full South Asia, South India, in Bangalore, Chennai, Kochi, and Hyderabad. So, I've enjoyed playing for CSK, where I was opening with Matthew Heron. There was a different kind of culture in that side. Whether you do well, you don't do well, everything is same for them. When you play for Mumbai Indians, there's always a pressure. There's always a pressure of winning, and that comes because of the kind of success which team has, got, and the profile which team has. You love those kind of challenges. You want to be out there and become a hero, and that's something which I sought for. So I loved playing for Mumbai, or especially I like playing in 1KD. Even in my junior days, I always loved playing at 1KD. So that, and crowd and atmosphere, and that city gives you that, always gives you that goosebumps every time you go in there. So Mumbai Indians was very, very enjoyable moment for me. Especially we won twice in 3 years, and the third year I was highest run scorer for them also. So the contributions were quite well. So I was a little disappointed not to get beaten for Mumbai Indians because I thought I had a very successful tenure with them. With RCB, again, it becomes a different culture, attacking, play bold, not to worry about result. You just got to go out there and enjoy yourself. So every team has a different culture of playing. Every team has a different way of approaching game, and it's not always easy to get molded yourself according to the teams. But I can say proudly that every team I've gone to, I've performed well. So that means I've adjusted well to all teams' culture.
And I have so much respect for people like Wasim Jaffer, people like Amol Muzumdar, people like yourself, who have stuck it out in domestic cricket and created the kind of records you've done. I mean, we're talking 11,000 first-class runs here from you, and season after season of doing those 700 runs and things like that. You had a trot where you did 500s back to back, wasn't it? So talk about that golden run.
Yeah, that was I see that was something very special. If I take you back a month before those 500s, I had a disaster of Ranji Trophy season. I played 7 games and scored 180 or 90 runs, but I was picked for India A for that tour. So for a full 1 month, I was doing nothing. I was just asking someone to bowl me underarms, and I would just hit it back to them. There was nothing else I was doing, because I didn't know whether I'll get my next run from where. You go through that phases in your life where every time I go and play even in a club match I used to go, I used to feel that there's 11 fielders in the offside and leg side. I could never see a gap. So when I still remember we landed in Zimbabwe. Chandrakant Pandit was our coach, and I was vice captain of the side. So obviously the way I was batting, he thought that I'll be very lucky if I get 10 runs in this tour. And I told him the same, that I'll be very happy if I get even 150 in this tour. I went in, scored 67 in first test match. We won the test match. Second test match I got 100, and then we went to Kenya. I got another 100 in that game. And again we were playing against Kenya, and Kenya and Zimbabwe were international side. They were not as bad as right now they are. So got another 100 there. So I got 300s on trot. So that's something I felt at some point of time it will come to an end. So and then we came to India. We're playing against South Africa A, even stronger side. Got 100 against them. But the best 100 which I feel was against Mumbai in Iranian Trophy, where I got 179. There was Ajit was playing, Ramesh was playing, Sai was playing. So and you know how it is for a Gujarat. Mumbai always thought we were pushovers for a lot of years. So there was always a burning desire to do well against Mumbai side. So that 180 will always be special in Iran.
Yeah, Amol, sorry to interrupt, but Amol always says that, they would get tickets back for the third day.
There's true, yeah. Even I had that chat with Sanjay Manjrekar once, and he would say that, irrespective of that. And even funnier is a lot of Gujarat players used to go there with an empty suitcase, that on a fourth day they'll do shopping. So so that was the mindset which I come from. So it's not that easy, but yeah, I mean I'm very proud that those 500.
Yeah, that 179.
I can,
amazing.
And very proudly I can say that no one has done that ever in the history of Indian cricket. So that record I'll definitely be proud of.
Yeah, it's not going to go away very soon. I mean, and that, phases like that, I think the recall happened 1 year after that. But, there are times when you perform like that, and no disrespect to guys like DK, who are also wonderful guys. But, sometimes you turn around and say, what is it that I'm doing wrong? I'm performing so well. Are you superstitious at all? Have you ever gone to a Jyotishi and shown your...
No, I have not. No, I have not. But my parents have gone and they've shown. But yeah, I'm glad that you spoke about that. I'm not getting picked after those 500. I did felt hard done by after scoring those many runs. So, but it is what it is. I as I said before, also we were competing for second keeper's slot, and I thought that this is the time for me to get back into the Indian side. And Dilip Vengsarkar was a chairman, as I said. So he called up after the selection happened, and he's like, they had picked DK for that tour, and he called me like, you're doing really well. Keep doing well. So I asked him, surprisingly, whether I'm picked or not. What are you trying to say? That no, we've gone for DK. I said, okay, keep doing well. I said, the question I didn't ask him because I respect him so much. Once I hang up the phone, I was like, for what else can I do to get back into the side? And that's where the thought came up of, not to worry about getting picked for India, not to worry about, which level of cricket I am playing, whether I'm playing club cricket or I'm playing state cricket or for India or IPL. I will just go out there, enjoy myself, have fun scoring runs, have fun taking catches, have fun winning games, irrespective of which level I'm playing.
That's very wonderfully put. Let's just talk about the lockdown a little bit. I can imagine it must be a little frustrating. I mean, no disrespect to what's happening outside. We need to maintain social distancing. But do you have a gym at home? Do you manage to do some exercises in the compound? How is it working? You have to keep yourself fit. I mean, at the end of the day,
I have a gym. I have a gym at home. I've been training really hard. In fact, this has come as a blessing in disguise for me, because thing which I'm doing is I'm training even harder because I have to kill time. And instead of doing a 1 hour exercise, I've been doing 2.5 hour exercise. So I've been training really hard and been making sure that I've been eating well, also trying to stay healthy. I've been doing a lot of yoga just to stay in positive state of mind, because you can easily get carried away with the news which are coming in and all sort of things. So that's a negative mindset which is never going to help you. And I'm not a negative person. I don't like to look at negative thoughts. Even if there is slightest light in the room, I'll look at that rather than the big dark room. So here there is an opportunity for me to work harder, try and get my six pack. We've been working to get on that, eating well and spending time with family.
So is there a new skill that you picked up? Like, for example, we work in FM radio and we do so much of audio work, but because of this lockdown, we started having to do a lot of video and digital work, So I'm learning things like Zoom and Skype and all kinds of Insta Live and things like that.
Yeah.
Any other skills that you picked up during this lockdown, personal or professional?
Yes, I did. I was commentating for Star during World Cup, and I did quite a few games. So I have this time. So I've done an online course on media and broadcasting. How to use sound bites and how to use your hands and all sort of things. That's something which I've been working on. I'm doing an online course. That just this is a post retirement plan for me, where this will help me to do better as a broadcaster. And I've done a bit of a online coaching course also, just to look at the game in a different way. As a player, you look at the game differently, and when you're a coach, you look at that game differently. So just trying to making sure, just being Gujarati, making sure that everything is in place, the future is secured, either a coach or a commentator. So trying to make use of their time.
No, because I've heard your commentary. You're really smooth, and I would like to hear maybe a podcast of yours in the future. So I mean, just an idea.
Yeah.
You talking about the game. It'll be really interesting to hear that. So how are groceries and all coming in? Do you have a domestic help who goes out once a week, twice a week, gets the supplies to your house, or do you go out to where the watchman is and bring it up and sanitize it? How does that happen in the Patel house?
Sometimes I go and bring groceries. So what we do is we pack up things for a week. And there's also the sabji wala, and everyone comes here. So we just put it in a plastic bowl, a plastic balti, and you just sanitize and wash all the vegetables and get it in the house.
Have you managed to pick up some cooking skills and help your wife or somebody in the kitchen to make something?
Yes, I have. I've been a cooking fan. I used to actually like cooking. I've stayed a lot alone, so I used to like cooking. So now that I'm reliving that fun of mine, I've cooked a lot of things. I've cooked palak paneer, kadai paneer, pasta, Thai curry. I'm actually a good cook. I've been getting appreciated at home. So me and my daughter is 8-year-old. So we both cook together. It's her time pass as well. So good family bonding time with reliving those cooking times.
What's the first thing, Parthiv, you're going to do when the lockdown is lifted? I mean, something in your mind that you think you should do.
I'm going to go out I'm going to go to the ground and put my pads on, put my spike shoes on, and face a bowler. I miss those challenges. I miss those, miss those going into the nets and playing and hitting the ball. That sound of hitting the cricket bat or a sound of that ball coming into glove, that I miss that a lot. That's probably the first thing which I'll do.
There's something known as wanderlust. Wanderlust means sitting in your armchair and chair and thinking of travel destinations.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a travel destination that you've gone to alone as a cricketer, or even with family, with your wife and daughter, that you just really loved? Any destination?
Recently we went to London during World Cup. We loved London, just walking around, on any street and stuff. So that's something very relaxed stuff. So, we will, if at all this lockdown, opens up soon. So, that's something which we would like to go, but hopefully, before anything else, I think, the safety of humankind is bigger than thinking of going on a vacation right now.
Sure. But you've enjoyed your time in London, which is really wonderful. I'm going to ask you about, I had no clue that you have 9 fingers. I mean, people like Hrithik Roshan, everybody knows about. Even Guptill, everybody knows about. I just find it fascinating that you're so pragmatic. You started this interview in such a practical manner where you said, I don't agree with all this thing about I should have been born in a different time. And you never even talked about it. Only recently, there are a couple of articles, because I think you mentioned it somewhere. This happened when you were 6 years old. So you really don't know what it is like being with 10 fingers. Is that it?
Exactly, yeah. So, but I've in that interview, I've showed it like this. So that's the little finger which came in the door when I was 6 years old. I was a naughty child. I'd actually bit my sister on the nose. So I was punished to go in the bathroom, and my finger came in that door, and then it got chopped off. But yeah, as I've said in it, one of the interviewer, Chandresh, I'm sure you might be knowing him. So he's the one who asked me about this, my 9th finger. So that's where I mentioned about it. Yeah. So it's the same thing. I don't know how would I feel if I had full 10 fingers. Yes, there have been times where people have told me that you, because of this, you can't grip properly. The finger doesn't go into the glove. So I tape it up. That's Kiran sir's idea, just to make sure that there is a proper curve onto it. But as I said, I don't know how it would be. So just to say that, and I'm very proud that, now that everyone's noticed, and one feels great that I've played for India as a wicketkeeper with 9 fingers.
Yeah, and the beauty is that you've never even used it as an excuse or allowed it to come up. I mean, people love you, I think, even more now that we found out accidentally.
Yeah. There are no excuses. I don't like using excuses.
So what's on your phone? I mean, what kind of music do you listen to? Are you a Bollywood kind of guy? Are you a Punjabi kind of guy? Are you an international music
Bollywood.
kind of guy?
No. Proper Bollywood kind of guy. I love Arijit Singh. I love Shreya Ghoshal. Those are my favorite singers. So every time, now I've been still listening to Kabir Singh songs and stuff. So
Lovely.
I'm a proper Bollywood guy.
And your favorite actress would be somebody that you say, wow, she's so good, and your wife says, how can you talk about her?
It's always been Aishwarya Rai. Since I managed to take a picture with her in one of the Mumbai Indians parties and stuff. Yeah, she's been my all-time favorite actress.
Parthiv, this has been fascinating, both from a cricketing perspective as well as a personal perspective. Thank you very, very much for talking to me. Cheers, and all the best.
Pleasure. It was good. Thank you.
All of you are listening or watching. 100 hours, 100 stars is us reaching out to 100 stars. There's a QR code and there's a link. You can scan it, or you could click on the link and feed in the numbers that you want to donate. This is a donation to the PM Cares Fund for our COVID-19 warriors who are battling it out.
जब सारी दुनिया कर रही थी बकवास, तब फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज की शुरुआत करते हुए रेडियो पर जॉन इब्राहिम, गौतम गंभीर और वरुण धवन ने मिलकर ये कहा,
हाय मैं हूँ गौतम गंभीर।
हाय मैं हूँ वरुण धवन।
हाय मैं हूँ जॉन इब्राहिम।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ मैं कहता हूँ बकवास बंद,
बदलाव शुरू।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज का सबसे पहला इनिशिएटिव था नो MC, नो BC।
मैं जॉन इब्राहिम कहता हूँ,
मैं वरुण धवन भी ये वादा करता हूँ,
हम अपनी शहर की औरतों को जुबान से इज्जत देंगे,
यानी नो MC, नो BC।
उसके बाद मिशन तेजाब में कई एसिड अटैक विक्टिम्स की जिंदगी का रुख बदल दिया।
हाय मैं हूँ आमिर खान और फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज एसिड अटैक विक्टिम्स को एक नई जिंदगी दे रहा है। मैं इसका स्वागत करता हूँ।
मिशन जुर्रत में देश के सारे पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट्स को एक साथ मिलकर कहा,
नमस्कार, मैं अमिताभ बच्चन बोल रहा हूँ। दिल्ली, बेंगलोर, कोलकाता और मुंबई पुलिस को बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं मैं देना चाह रहा हूँ। आप फीवर 104 FM मिशन जुर्रत का हिस्सा बने हैं। ये बदलाव की बहुत बड़ी शुरुआत है और मेरी शुभकामनाएं आपके साथ।
जब कश्मीर में फ्लड्स आए, लाखों की तादाद में खाने पीने की सामग्री कश्मीर भिजवाई। हमारी इस कोशिश के लिए मिशन कश्मीर ने जीता गोवा फेस्ट में प्रेस्टिजियस एबी अवार्ड।
मैं और आप मिलकर फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज का अगला प्रोजेक्ट शुरू करते हैं, ब्लड बैंक 104। ब्लड बैंक 104। फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ मैं जॉन इब्राहिम ये वादा करता हूँ कि इस शहर में जब भी होगी खून की दरकार, तैयार रहेगा फीवर 104।
और फिर ट्रैफिक जैम की वजह से नहीं जाए कोई जान, उसके लिए हमने शुरू की अपनी मुहिम एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट।
हाय मैं हूँ जॉन इब्राहिम।
हाय मैं हूँ गौतम गंभीर।
हाय मैं वरुण धवन बोल रहा हूँ।
हाय मैं हूँ आलिया भट्ट।
जब भी एम्बुलेंस का सायरन सुनाई दे तो हो जाए लेफ्ट, क्योंकि एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट।
अब बकवास बंद, बदलाव शुरू।
एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट के साथ साथ फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने जिम्मा लिया ऑर्गन ट्रांसप्लांट का और बनाया ग्रीन कॉरिडोर, जिसमें एयरपोर्ट से हॉस्पिटल का सफर जो घंटों का था उसे मिनटों का बना दिया। एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट का डंका सिर्फ हिंदुस्तान में नहीं बल्कि न्यूयॉर्क तक बजा। रेडियो के ऑस्कर कहे जाने वाले न्यूयॉर्क फेस्टिवल ने एम्बुलेंस फर्स्ट इनिशिएटिव को 2 बार NYF अवार्ड से नवाजा। और फिर कैंसर सर्वाइवर्स की जिंदगी में बदलाव लाने के लिए फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ जुड़े युवराज सिंह।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ कैंसर सर्वाइवर की जिंदगी के बदलाव के लिए मैं युवराज सिंह तैयार हूँ। क्या आप तैयार हैं?
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने वोटिंग परसेंटेज में किया बदलाव अपनी मुहिम ईच वन खींच वन के साथ।
नमस्कार, मैं हूँ फीवर RJ अमिताभ बच्चन। चुनाव का माहौल बना हुआ है और मैं तो कहूँगा कि ईच वन खींच वन। जब मैं भी वोटिंग करने जाऊंगा तो किसी को साथ खींच कर लेकर जाऊंगा।
इंडियन आर्मी के साथ मिलकर फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने एक ऐसा जश्न मनाया जिसका शोर बॉर्डर पार पहुंचा।
मैं गौतम गंभीर।
मैं हूँ कर्नल VN थापर, कैप्टन विजयन थापर का फादर।
मैं हूँ मेजर गौरव आर्या।
फीवर FM के साथ मिलकर कहता हूँ,
इस कारगिल विजय दिवस मिलकर ऐसा जश्न मनाएंगे कि शोर
बॉर्डर पार पहुंचे। जय हिंद,
जय हिंद, जय हिंद, जय हिंद।
7 दिसंबर इंडियन आर्म्ड फोर्स फ्लैग डे पर फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ पूरे हिंदुस्तान ने मिलकर दिखाया अपना देश प्रेम।
मैं सिर्फ यही रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगा सारे अपने फैंस और लिसनर्स से, आप फेसबुक हो चाहे इंस्टाग्राम हो चाहे इवन ट्विटर हो, अगर आप अपना फ्रेम चेंज कर सकते हैं 7 दिसंबर को तो कहीं ना कहीं आप वो रिस्पेक्ट दे रहे हैं आर्म फोर्सेस को।
दिल्ली की बिगड़ती हवा और पोल्यूशन से एनवायरनमेंट को बचाने के लिए फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज लेकर आया प्रोजेक्ट ग्रीन हार्ट्स, जहां हमने दिल्ली NCR में लगाए 1 लाख से भी ज्यादा पेड़।
आप पहले 1 या 2 पेड़ों से शुरुआत करो और कोशिश करो कि उन पेड़ों को अपने बच्चों की तरह बड़ा करो।
पुलवामा अटैक इस मुश्किल की घड़ी में पूरे देश को शहीदों के परिवार से जोड़ रही थी एक वेबसाइट, भारत के वीर। तो फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के साथ मिलकर सुपरस्टार अक्षय कुमार ने फीवर 104 FM पर DG CRPF से कहा,
हेलो डी साहब शरद।
हाँ नमस्कार।
नमस्कार। अक्षय भाई मेरे साथ दूसरी लाइन पे।
नमस्ते जी। मेरे लायक कोई भी सेवा हो, मैं बोला पूरा देश आपके साथ है इस वक्त। अभी आई हैव जस्ट सेंट 5 करोड़ रुपीस टू भारत के वीर फ्रॉम माय साइड।
फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज ने शुरू की मुहिम #सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक से ब्रेकअप।
मैं तो सभी दुकानदारों से आग्रह करूंगा, आप अपने दुकान पर हमेशा बोर्ड लगाते हैं, एक बोर्ड ये भी लगा दीजिए, कृपा करके हमसे प्लास्टिक की थैली की अपेक्षा न करें।
और फिर पहली बार देश के किसी मीडिया हाउस की पीठ थपथपाने के लिए देश के प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने फीवर 104 FM के लिए ट्वीट किया, फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज के पिछले 5 सालों की ये तो बस एक छोटी सी झलक थी, लेकिन फीवर वॉइस ऑफ चेंज की टीम जॉन इब्राहिम के साथ कहती है, ये बस शुरुआत है, बदलाव अब भी बाकी है।